She said, "It was just a prank," after ruining my career. My boss called me into his office before I even sat down at my desk. That never happened. Not once in 6 years. He had his hands folded on the desk like he was about to fire someone. And then I realized. He was about to fire someone. He was about to fire me. "We received a complaint," he said. "A serious one." I didn't move. I didn't breathe. "Someone reported that you've been sending inappropriate emails to clients. We have screenshots." The air left my lungs like someone punched through my chest and grabbed everything inside. "That's not possible," I said. "I would never." "Marcus." He slid a folder across the desk. "We have 17 screenshots. Sent from your work email. Your name. Your signature." I opened that folder and my hands started shaking before I even read the first line. The emails were disgusting. Racist jokes. Sexual comments. Addressed to 3 of our biggest clients. Clients I had personally on board. Clients who trusted me. Who referred their friends to our firm because of me. And every single email had my name on it. My full name. My direct email. My professional signature that I spent an hour designing when I first got the job. "I didn't write these," I said. My voice came out thin. "Almost gone. HR has already reviewed them. IT confirmed they came from your account. Then someone got into my account. Someone did this to me." He looked at me like I was already guilty. Like he was just waiting for me to stop talking so he could get to the part where security walked me out. "We're placing you on administrative leave pending investigation. I need your badge and your laptop." 6 years. 6 years of staying late. 6 years of covering shifts, taking on extra clients, missing my daughter's birthday recital because a presentation needed to be perfect. 6 years of building something real. Something mine. Gone. In a folder. Across a desk. I put my badge down. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. I walked out of that building and sat in my car for 40 minutes before I could figure out how to start the engine. My phone started ringing that night. First it was colleagues. Then old friends from the industry. Then numbers I didn't recognize. Word had spread. In this business, word always spreads. Someone talked. Someone forwarded something. And now my name was attached to words I never wrote, thoughts I never had, a person I never was. I sat at my kitchen table with my laptop open, trying to figure out how someone had accessed my work email, trying to remember if I'd ever left my screen unlocked, trying to think of who would want to do this to me. And then my phone buzzed with a text from a number I recognized immediately. Destiny. We'd worked together for 2 years before she left the company. We'd been close. I thought we'd been close. The text said, "Hey, I heard what happened. Call me when you can." I almost didn't call. Something in my gut told me not to. But I was desperate. I was drowning. And she was a familiar voice. I called her. She answered on the first ring. "Marcus. God. I'm so sorry. Did you hear what they're saying about me?" I heard. "And Marcus, I need to tell you something. But you have to promise you won't freak out." The hair on my arms stood up. "Destiny. What did you do?" It wasn't even a question when I said it. It was a statement. Because something in her voice already told me everything. The way she said "I'm so sorry" first. The way she picked up on the first ring like she'd been waiting. The silence on the line was so long I thought she'd hung up. And then she said it. "It was just a prank, Marcus. I didn't think it would go this far." The room tilted. I gripped the edge of the kitchen table because I genuinely felt like the floor was about to give out beneath me. "A prank," I said. I was upset. When I left the company, they passed me over for that senior account manager position and gave it to you instead, and you sent racist emails to my clients from my account, and you're calling it a prank. I didn't think anyone would actually believe them. I thought you'd laugh it off or HR would see it was obviously fake. How did you get into my account?" She went quiet again. "Destiny. How did you get into my account? You used the same password for everything, Marcus. You told me that once. At that work happy hour 2 years ago. You said you used your daughter's name with some numbers. It wasn't hard. My daughter's name. She used my daughter's name to break into my life and burn it to the ground. You need to call my boss," I said. My voice was completely flat now. Something had turned off inside me. "You need to call HR. You need to send them a statement explaining what you did and how you did it tonight." "Marcus, Tonight, Destiny. If you don't, I'm filing a police report by morning." She started crying. Actually crying. Like she was the one who'd just had her career ripped out from under her in a conference room with a folder full of lies. "You don't understand how much pressure I was under," she sobbed. "They treated me terribly when I left. You just got everything I worked for, and you didn't even call HR tonight." I hung up, and then I sat there in the silence of my kitchen and let myself feel it. All of it. The shame that wasn't even mine, but still felt like it was eating through my skin. The fear. The anger that was so big I didn't know where to put it. The image of my boss's face when he slid that folder across the desk. The sound of my badge hitting the wood when I put it down. My daughter was asleep in the next room. She was 8. She thought I was the safest person in the world. I didn't sleep that night. Not 1 second. Destiny called HR at 11:47 p.m. I know because my boss called me at 7:14 a.m. the next morning to tell me. She had sent a full written confession. Explained how she'd guessed my password. Explained that she'd created email templates designed to look authentic. Explained that she had sent them herself from a spoofed version of my email address that mimicked my signature. She explained everything. And here is the part that broke something inside me that I don't think has fully healed. She told HR she thought it would be funny. Not that she was angry. Not that she was hurt. Not that she'd made a terrible, devastating mistake in a moment of weakness. She told HR she thought it would be funny. My boss asked me to come back in. He said they were rescinding the administrative leave. He said they understood now that this was not my doing and that the company wanted to make things right. I drove to that office. I sat down across from him again. Same desk. Same folded hands. "We're very sorry, Marcus. This was a horrific situation and we should have investigated more thoroughly before. 3 clients dropped the firm," I said. He paused. "Yes. 3 clients that I personally brought in. 3 people who trusted me, who received emails they believe I wrote. We've been in contact with 2 of them. We've explained. And the third." He got quiet. "The third client is pursuing legal action against the firm, which means my name is still attached to this. Even after you reinstate me, even after Destiny confesses, my name is in that legal filing." He didn't have an answer for that. Because there wasn't one. I hired an attorney, not to sue the company, though my lawyer said I had grounds, but to deal with everything that had come next. The police report I filed against Destiny. The defamation angle. The unauthorized computer access, which my attorney said was a federal offense. Destiny's lawyer called my lawyer 2 days later. She wanted to settle. She was offering money. Not a lot. Enough to feel like an insult wrapped in an apology gift card. My lawyer laid out my options. I could accept the settlement. I could pursue criminal charges. I could do both to some extent. Each path had trade-offs. Each path had a cost. In money, in time, in energy, in reliving everything in rooms full of strangers. I went home and sat with my daughter at the kitchen table while she did her homework. She asked me why I looked tired. I told her I'd had a hard week at work. She patted my hand like she was the parent, like I was the one who needed protecting. She said, "You'll figure it out, Daddy. You always do." 8 years old. She still believed that about me completely. I didn't sleep again that night either. I went back to work. And if I thought the worst was over, I was wrong. Because rumors don't die when the truth comes out. They just change shape. People who had already heard the first version, the version where I was the one who sent those emails, they had that version embedded. The correction never travels as far as the original story. That is the cruelest law of how information moves. I had colleagues who were visibly uncomfortable around me, not because they still thought I'd done it, but because they didn't know how to look at someone who had gone through something like that. Like my pain made them awkward. Like the injustice of it was inconvenient for their comfort. I had a client referral fall through because someone had Googled my name and found a forum thread from the week I was on leave where people were already discussing the Marcus situation without any facts. Just speculation. Just the worst possible interpretation of an incomplete story. My name was the first result for 3 weeks. A lie about me outran the truth. And the truth was still running. Destiny did not go to jail. She received 18 months of probation and a fine. I read that in a text from my lawyer, and I had to read it 3 times. 18 months of probation. For federally classified unauthorized computer access. For defamation. For sending racist and sexually inappropriate content under my name to professional clients. For costing me my reputation, 3 of my best client relationships, 6 weeks of salary during administrative leave, and something I can't quite name, but can feel every single morning when I wake up and have to remind myself who I am before I get out of bed. 18 months of probation. And a fine she would pay from a savings account while I was still getting therapy bills from processing what she did to me. My lawyer said that was actually within the expected range for a first offense without prior record. I thanked him. I hung up the phone. I walked to the bathroom and splashed cold water on my face and stood there staring at myself in the mirror for a long time. I took the settlement. Not because it felt like justice. It didn't. It felt like someone handing you a Band-Aid after a car accident and calling it even. I took it because fighting longer would have cost more than it returned. Not just in money. In time I would never get back. Time with my daughter. Time in my own head. Time that belonged to me and that this situation had already stolen too much of. I used part of the money for my daughter's education fund. I put it there and I closed the account screen and I tried not to think about where it came from. I kept working. I rebuilt relationships that could be rebuilt. I let go of the ones that couldn't. I had hard conversations with clients who were willing to have them, and I absorbed the loss of the ones who weren't. I went to therapy every Thursday at 5 p.m. My therapist is a quiet man who asks good questions and never tells me what to feel. He asked me once what I would say to Destiny if she were in the room. I thought about that for a long time. I said, I would ask her what she thought would happen. Not what she wanted to happen. What she actually thought would happen. Because either she knew and did it anyway, or she genuinely didn't think it would matter. And I don't know which one is worse. He wrote something down. He didn't tell me the answer. I'm still not sure there is one. 6 months after it all started, I was sitting at my desk when a junior colleague stopped by and said casually, almost like small talk, "Hey, isn't that girl who messed with your email still working in the industry?" I think I saw her LinkedIn profile. I didn't say anything. I looked her up that night. Against my better judgment. Against everything my therapist had said about redirecting energy. She had a new job. Same industry. Different city. Her profile was cheerful. Professional. She had skills listed and endorsements and a smiling photo, and nothing on her page reflected what she had done to me. There was no evidence of it. No mark. No consequence visible to the world. She was just someone with a LinkedIn profile moving through her life. And I was still someone who sometimes froze when I opened my work email in the morning because for half a second, every morning, I wondered what was inside that inbox that might not be mine. That's what she gave me. Not just the incident, but the reflex, the flinch, the thing that lives in my body now that wasn't there before. I called my mom that night. I hadn't told her everything. I'd given her the edited version, the version where it worked out, the version that skipped the 40 minutes in the parking lot and the sleepless nights and the third client who still hadn't called back. But that night, I told her everything. She listened. She didn't interrupt. She didn't tell me what I should have done differently or offer me a solution. She just listened. And when I was done, she said, "Marcus, the woman who did this to you, she is living in a small world. Smaller than she even knows. A world where a prank on someone else felt like power. That's the smallest kind of world there is." I didn't say anything. "And you," she said, "are still raising your daughter. Still working. Still showing up. That's a much bigger world than she has access to." I cried. First time since any of it started. I don't know why that was the thing that broke it open, but it was. My daughter asked me last week what I would do if someone was mean to me at work. She said it casually, the way kids do, not knowing she was walking into the middle of the biggest question I'd spent the last several months living inside. I thought about what to tell her. I could have said walk away. I could have said fight back. I could have given her a clean, simple answer that fit on a motivational poster. Instead, I said, I would try to make sure they couldn't do it again. And then I would try really hard not to let how they treated me change how I treat other people. She thought about that. She nodded like she was filing it away. "Did that happen to you?" She asked. "Yeah, baby. It did. Are you okay?" I looked at her across the kitchen table. 8 years old. Still the most fearless person I know. "Getting there," I said. "Getting there. Here is what I want you to think about. Destiny said it was just a prank. She believed that. Some part of her, maybe even now, still believes that the scale of what she did was smaller than what I experienced. That there's a gap between her intention and my reality, and that somehow that gap means she's less responsible. But intent doesn't build back what you burn down. Intent doesn't sit in the parking lot for 40 minutes unable to start the car. Intent doesn't show up in therapy every Thursday. Intent doesn't flinch every morning when the inbox opens. She thought it was a prank. I lived the consequence. And those two things existed at the same time. In the same story. About the same event. So here is the question I'm leaving with you. When someone causes real damage with a careless action and calls it a joke, At what point does the joke become the truth of who they are? And is there a version of forgiveness that doesn't require you to minimize what was done to you? Leave your thoughts below, because I'm still working through it. And something tells me I'm not the only one.